To begin with, let's take a look at initializing your new system. If you'll note at the bottom, we have a hotkey bar that tells you what the current hotkeys are that are available in the system. As we note, at this instance, if we press F9, that will bring us into the initialize new system process. The Initialize New System menu is designed to take you through step by step each of the operations that need to be completed as you bring your system online. To begin with, you'll select a chart of accounts. The system provides you with four sample chart of accounts that you can choose from. You can view any of those charts, and then once you've looked those over and decided which chart of accounts you want to use for your business, then you can come back in and select the chart of accounts that you want to use. We'll just use number 1. That's a default multi-purpose generic chart of accounts. Once you've entered any accounting data in the system, you can't change the chart of accounts using that function. You have to modify the accounts. The second step then would be to print off a chart of accounts. Let's go ahead and take a look at the print function briefly. Anytime, for most of the reports in the system, when you go to print, you'll come up with this option that allows you to either send it to the printer or send it to the screen. If you select printer, then most often the Windows dialog that asks you which printer you want to send it to will come up so that you can send it to any of the printers that are defined on your system. In this instance, I'm going to send it out to my screen so that we can preview it. The print preview allows you to see what the report's going to look like, and then you can print it by clicking on the print report button if you'd like. You can cycle back and forth through the pages. You can go directly to a specific page, zoom in, zoom out by clicking. It kind of shows you the basic functionality of the report previewer. In this instance, while I've got this report up, let's take a look at the structure of the general ledger chart of accounts. We use a 5-level account structure. We'll go back to the beginning. The first number, the first digit, represents the top level of accounts: assets, liabilities, capital, cost of goods or assets or income. The second number represents the first sub-level, so here we have the 1100 accounts, here we have the 1200 accounts, and then each of the next 3 layers is represented by 2 digits. So the next 2 digits, for example here, 1105, 1110, 1115. If we needed to have further accounts under that to further subdivide those accounts, then those would be taken up with 2 digits each in the next set of 4 digits. So for example, 110501 and 110502 could be default accounts, or 110501 could be a general account, and then you could have 11050101 and 11050102. The important thing to remember is that postings have to happen to detail accounts, and general accounts, detail accounts do not have any accounts under them. So with 1105 defined here as a detail account, we couldn't define an 110501 because we can't have a detail under a detail. We use a standard accounting structure using debit and credit accounts and 5 classes of accounts: the 1000 accounts for asset accounts, the 2000 accounts for liability accounts, the 3000 accounts for your capital accounts, and 4000 accounts for revenue accounts, 5000 accounts for expense accounts. Once you've selected the chart of accounts that you want to use and you have a printout that you can mark up or do whatever you need to do with, then you can modify your chart of accounts. As we pull up the modify screen, or the menu here to modify the chart of accounts, you'll notice that we have an add option, a modify option, a delete option, and then an exit the menu option. Throughout the software you'll see these same 3 options presented: to add, modify, or delete an entry, so that if, for example, you are working with a customer, you can choose to add a customer, modify an existing customer, or delete an existing customer. In this case, if we wanted to add an account, we would select add. If we wanted to change one of our current accounts, we would select modify, and if we needed to get rid of one, we would delete one. Let's just take a look at the options that we have to supply for creating a new account. In the standard chart of accounts that we just selected, we had an account number 1105, which was a petty cash account. So if we wanted to create an 1106 account, and call that our really petty cache. And then we have to specify for each account if that is a credit account or a debit account. We'll call that a credit account. Actually, we'll call that a debit account. And if it's a general or a detail account, and that will be a detail account because we'll be posting to it. Go ahead and change that to a debit. We also allow you to define a department for each account, and then you have the ability to run some of your financial reports and show only the accounts that match a certain department. Also at the bottom you'll notice here we have an F3 key to save and an F10 key to abort, so that if I decide I don't want this record, I press F10, or escape does the same thing, and if I want to save the record, then I press F3, or I just enter through the bottom of the page. Then I come back to the top of the screen ready to enter a new account.